Hey there. So, a federal judge has found against Prop 8. That is a damn good thing. I hope most of you know exactly where I stand on the issue. I stand first and foremost at all times for human rights. And yes, I am one of those despicable, disgusting people that hold gays to be human. I know, it's terrible, really. But until I get the memo that they aren't, I will stand up for gay rights at all times. A great deal of my friends are gay. A great deal of my friends are liberal. A great deal of my friends are conservative. I have friends of all stripes, and I want them all to enjoy the same rights and the same protections under law. I don't think that's too much to ask. I really don't. I'm excited. I'm really joyed at the judge's ruling. It was completely fair, and it was accurate. And that's the best part. A lot of times you'll see something that a judge will say something due to their basic opinion. Like, I don't like this. Well, that's not what happened here. The ruling was clearly written out. It was cited. It was shown as to why, how, what. And that's important to me. Even if he had ruled in our favor, against Prop 8, if he had simply said, I'm gay, so I'm striking this down, I would be against that ruling, because that would not be a good thing. But the last couple of days, I've seen a lot of shit happening, a lot of people talking and not knowing what the hell they're talking about. A few of the worst ones are, let's see, it goes against traditional marriage. Marriage is between one man and one woman. Well, let's first define traditional. If you're saying something that's stupid, I'm assuming that you're running off of religion as traditional. Because marriage is not a religious ceremony. It was co-opted to being a religious ceremony. There's a huge difference. Marriage existed long before religion did. Being that we do not have the armor, the weapons, the speed of other animals, we used cooperation. That's why we developed two distinct body styles. Look at most animals that can live solitary. The males and the females are nearly identical. We are not meant to be solitary. We developed along a line of cooperation. And that doesn't. What that means is that we are made to couple. We are made to work together in small groups and large groups. It doesn't matter. That's how we excelled. That's how we survived. Now, some people are going to say, oh, see, right there, you just said. No, I didn't. What I'm saying is that marriage, the grouping together, has been around, well, since man has. Everywhere in the animal kingdom, you see homosexuality and homosexual behavior. Everywhere. It's not uniquely human. So there goes another one of the damned flawed arguments. It's not natural. Well, all of the natural world enjoys it. All of the natural world does this. Therefore, it is by its very nature natural. But no, let's go back to this. If you want to say that traditional marriage is between a man and a woman, and you rely on a text, the two main texts are the Bible and the Quran that people say this from. Now, if you're going from the Bible, okay, I can show you dozens of instances where God's favorite people had other than one man, one woman marriages. So go away, Christians. Your own argument fails due to your own citing. It doesn't work. That's not what the Bible supported. In the Quran, marriage is apparently between one child and one man. And that's a lot worse than anything you accuse the anti-8 people of being. Yeah, so if you want to throw in traditional, you kind of have to look at your own traditions. And when you do that, then you can come back and talk about it. Another point. Well, this means people are going to marry their horses, and they're going to marry their sisters, and they're going to marry 10 women. Yeah, well, guess what, jackass? The Bible specifically had so many instances of that. And yet you base your idea of traditional marriage on the Bible. The Bible specifically condones polygamy. Sorry about your luck there. As far as the horses thing, animal abuse is animal abuse. You're not going to get away with that. It's just stupid. I mean, if that's what you fantasize about, you know, keep it to a fantasy, because I will be one of the first in line demanding your prosecution otherwise. And as far as a brother and sister hooking up, well, frankly, if they're two consenting adults, I've got nothing to say in the matter. No, I wouldn't like to see them married. It's my opinion. Not a good thing to me. But there's, you know, a bit of science that goes into that also, which is something none of your arguments have. Let's see. Oh, I like this one. Well, we already done give them the civil unions. You just want to give them special rights. Okay, idiot. No. That's not what this is about. There are no special rights being doled out. Civil unions are not the same as marriages. A few states have them primarily similar, but they are not the same. Now, if a state said civil union and marriage and gave across the board equality, same things, I might understand your argument. But that doesn't happen. The everything but marriage laws. Yeah, see, here's the problem. You're still saying I'm better than you. You're still saying you are excluded. And that is wrong. Now, that's on a purely philosophical level because, to my knowledge, no states have a perfectly equitable civil union law. So, if I'm wrong, hey, correct me. But I do know that here in Washington we had an everything but marriage law that failed. So you can't use Washington. And we are in the top 5 states as far as those rights go, that clumping of rights. Another one is that oh, this damn activist judge just overturned the will of the people. That was a damn vote. Yeah, you know, let's see, people voted to keep slavery and won. It took the government to say this has to end. People voted on them damn women best get back to the kitchen. And it won. The government had to impose. All of you women that went out there and voted against this, I hope you realize that you essentially voted against yourself. And all of you that are upset about this are upset that you have the right to vote. Because without the government and its representatives, you wouldn't be able to vote. Hell, it wouldn't even be a misdemeanor to punch you, to beat you, to keep you locked in the closet. If you complained, a cop would tell you to shut the hell up. You know why? Because those activist judges stood for your rights. So I think you need to take a long, hard look at the role of government and at the role of these judges. These judges are there to ensure equality. And yeah, it worked for you. Now, let it work for others. It doesn't matter if 85% of California, now mind you, it was only 52%. It's barely above a majority. It wouldn't matter if 85% had voted against gay marriage. Because you cannot allow the majority to stand on the necks of the minority. Period. As I said, if you're female, if you're black, if you're Hispanic, if you're Irish, at some point, these laws were against you. And judges stood up for you in this exact manner. So, keep that in mind. As a final note, I just like to express my utter and complete disappointment in the black community in California that resoundingly voted for Prop 8. And especially all those that I got to watch on TV saying the same nasty, dirty, bigoted words that were used against you. How fucking dare you? You literally used the exact same arguments that were used against you being able to marry anyone of any race, of you having any rights. You used the same arguments that your grandfathers, that your fathers had used against them. You should be ashamed. And I hope that at least a few of you have had the chance to look back and honestly understand that this has to end. This does have to end. We can't keep standing on the minority's neck. We as a nation can't do this. Equal protection, equal rights under the law. For everyone. That is where I stand, and that is where you should stand. And if you belong to some dogmatic little petty institution that tells you you can't support that, you really need to break out. Either that or go join the Klan or the Mormon Church. Okay?